Alright, so hi everyone, thank you for coming to this week's meeting. We'll be going over Bootstrap, so it's just like something to help you with CSS. Alright, so today's agenda, we'll be going over the capabilities and benefits of Bootstrap, why you would use it, um, containers, grids, and navbars, so a bunch of Bootstrap classes, and then we'll have a demo. So what is Bootstrap? Bootstrap is a free CSS framework used to create websites and web apps. Um, A CSS framework is basically a collection of different CSS styles that we have brought into a style sheet and can be imported into a project. It features HTML and CSS templates for user interface elements, which includes buttons, forms, and more. And Bootstrap also includes JavaScript plugins. All right, so what are the advantages of Bootstrap? It's fast and easy to use. The user usually requires little CSS knowledge, and you don't have to manually create the styles. So it also has responsive features. The CSS features adjust to different devices. So later on we'll demonstrate that, and it's compatible with all latest browsers.
Yeah, so as you can see, you can create a wide variety of um, websites using Bootstrap. These are just some examples of portfolios, which is the project that we're going to be doing. Um, but before we, you know, fantasize too much, let's actually go over on how to use Bootstrap into our code. So before you can do anything, you want to make sure you actually import a few things. So I think it varies on what you can import. So make sure you keep in mind like what you're adding. But this is just what we added into our code. Basically, it consists of a style sheet and some script, including some jQuery, which is just like an extension of JavaScript.
Okay, so the first class we'll be going over is the containers. So a container is basically used to wrap and pad site content, and by default, containers have a 15 pixel left and right padding with no top and bottom padding. So people often use spacing utilities like extra padding and margins to make the containers look better. There are two types of containers. So you can see on the left hand side, there's the fixed container and then the fluid container. So a fixed container has a fixed width, which changes at certain breakpoints, and Bootstrap uses the dot container class to provide a responsive fixed width container. Um, a fluid container has a fluid width which stretches to 100% of its parent element, and it uses the dot container dash fluid class. All right, so moving on to grids. Bootstrap has a grid system that's made out of CSS is Flexbox. So the grid system provides responsive layouts that the user can use while designing their site. So it allows a maximum of 12 columns a row across the page, as you can see from the picture of the grid system. And if you do not want to use all 12 columns individually, you can actually group them together. So you can create wider columns. Um, there are also some rules for using the grid system. So one of them is the rows must be placed within a container for proper alignment and padding. Content should be placed within columns, and grid columns are created by specifying the number of 12 available columns you want to span. So in this case, if if you want to create 3 equal columns, you would use dot column dash 4. Alright, so now for buttons, I put a bunch of buttons on the left side. So these were from Bootstrap's documentation, and it just provides a lot of predefined button types. Um, these examples show that the color of the button can provide a meaning to it. So, for example, you see red with danger and green with success. Um, the .btn classes are used with the button element, so the text below over here shows the code used for the primary button. So you can change the properties of the button, like the size of it, and you can use the .-lg for large or .btn-sm for small. Oh, sorry. Um, to outline the button, you would replace the default modifier class with a .btn-outline to remove all background images and color on the button.
All right, so let's go over navigation bars now. You've undoubtedly seen and used them before. And in case you haven't made one in HTML before, it's basically item tags as well as links, because you obviously want to take people somewhere if you click on each item in the navigation bar. But basically, if you want to make a standard static nav bar using Bootstrap, you would use the navbar and navbar default class inside of a nav tag in HTML. And what navbar default basically means is it just makes a regular grayish, whitish sort of navigation bar. But if you want to make it a darker color, you can use navbar inverse. And if you want to do a different color, we can go over that maybe in the demo. Next, you can use drop down. That's a cool feature Bootstrap lets you do. The drop down class basically lets you, for example, on the Limburg website, if you hover over one of the items in the nav bar, like more options pop up, and you can recreate a similar effect using these classes. Just make sure you include everything that you see here is basically like the little arrow, but otherwise make sure you have all the important classes. Otherwise, it's not going to work properly. And inside of the list item from the main list, make sure you include an entirely new list that is going to have your new options. And next we have right align elements. So basically, if you want to have certain elements in your nav bar be on the right side of the page, then you would use nav bar right. You can also include buttons in your navigation bar. You can just do that with the nav bar button class, nav bar btn. You can also include forms, which we'll go over into more detail on the next slide. You can have a fixed nav bar on the top or on the bottom, and you can also have a collapsible nav bar, which basically what that means is if you run out of space, it's essentially going to compress everything in the nav bar into like a little icon which you can press, and it's going to give you more of the options. But if you're going to use that, just make sure you have some code that allows you to actually access the collapsed elements, because basically like you have the code for the little icon, because if you don't have that, you won't be able to even see. Okay, so let's go over forms now. I don't think we went over this in too much detail in HTML either, but you can also use Bootstrap on them. So obviously you can use forms for things like sign-ins and contact forms. And that's basically, I guess, the extent to which you'd use them. But if you're going to use Bootstrap, there's some rules that you should follow. So make sure you have a div with the class form group, which is going to have all your form and labels inside of it, think for all your inputs and all your, make sure that your textual elements have the form control class. So for example, if you have an input, a text area, or a select tag, make sure they also have the form control class attached to them. Also, Bootstrap offers three different types of forms. There's the vertical form, which is just the default horizontal form, and the inline form. And you can see that on the right. You have an inline form at the very top, which basically you have all the inputs, all the labels are all in the same line. In the vertical form, you basically have each element has its own line, whereas a horizontal, each label and its corresponding input get are put on the same line. Okay, so now let's go over how to actually implement an HTML form. Um, in order to do that, you're going to need the form tag, Bootstrap yet. And if you know where you're, and if you know that you're going to send information from this form to some place, you can do the action equals. Although I'm not really sure if we're going to go over that in too much detail today. This is also inside of the form tag. You're also going to decide whether you want an inline form or horizontal form if you don't want a vertical form. And after this, you're going to put the div with the class form group. And inside of this div, you're going to put your labels and your inputs. So labels are just basically what I guess you would stick onto the input to like describe what the input is. So for example, if you have like an input box or password, you can use a label and say password, and that just sticks to it. You don't need to have labels be visible, but it's helpful to actually have them because it's useful for the screen reader. So if you don't want to have your labels shown, but you still want to have them in the code, you can use the .sr only class, which Bootstrap offers, which is going to hide your labels, but it's going to have them in the code for the screen reader to see. And also, if you have a horizontal form, make sure you add the control label class to all your labels so it formats correctly. Also, since you want your label to describe a certain input, you can use the for equals, and inside the for equals, you will put the ID of the input that your label is attached to. And with that in mind, let's go over what the different inputs could be. So as you can see, there's a lot of options, and this is by no means all of them. You could probably go to an external resource in order to see all of them. But if you're going to make like a contact form, for example, or like a sign-in form, you would probably want to use something like the email or password or the checkbox inputs. You can also have buttons and use just the styling for Bootstrap that you saw about buttons earlier. But anyway, yeah, you can have a lot of different types that you would put inside the type equals. And also, if you want to have a placeholder, you could do that as well. So it's basically just what says enter password, that's the placeholder. But once you start typing, it gets put away. But that's just forms in general, plus a little bit of Bootstrap.
Alright, so we're gonna have a code along right now. We're gonna be making part of a website using Bootstrap. Wait, okay.
Wait, do you want
Wait,
to screen
Sophia, can you
share?
stop sharing?
Yeah.
Uh, Hold up, I'm sharing the screen right now. Was that good? Do you see? the REPL. Alright. Okay, so first we're gonna have to import Bootstrap. So um I'm gonna go to the website, so and then you just click on download Bootstrap, and then there's gonna be some code you can copy. And this is, I think, the fastest way to import it. Alright, so after we import Bootstrap, um, we're just gonna start. Wait, let me just like show you guys everything first. So over here, I have like a logo. Basically for this website, we're just gonna start by making some text, and then, or we're gonna start by making the nav bar first with our logo, and then we'll add some text, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. So here's my logo. Oh, so here's my logo, and I'm just gonna go to my HTML file, and um we're gonna start by creating. So in the body, I'm gonna create a header for my nav bar. So it's gonna be so I just created a class named header for my nav bar first, and then we're gonna create a class for my navbar dash style. Right. So now I'm gonna create a div or a container. Oh. And then I'll create another div with class navbar header. And then in here we can add our logo.
Larry, I think a few people are having trouble with like getting the Bootstrap CDN. So can you link them that?
Oh yeah, let me send the link in the chat. Wait, I think hold up. Sophia sent it. Are y'all good?
Yeah, copy straight from Zoom.
Yeah, just copy whatever Sophia sent. Hold up, where am I? Okay, yeah. So now I'm just creating a div. Um, this is just creating our header, basically, our nav bar. So in between this div, I'm gonna be adding in my logo. So then it'll be an A tag. And then class logo. Oh, what am I? And then source will be yeah.
Hillary, the div on line 22 has a slash at the beginning on accident.
Oh my bad. Thanks. Okay. So there. My A tag for this. And then okay, so now that I have the logo in the navbar, I'm gonna go to the CSS file and we're going to make things look better. So I'm gonna start off by making margin for everything 0 and the padding just 0 pixels. Okay, so the dot header class. we're gonna make the height 100 VH. And then for the class, wait, the class was called navbar dash style. So navbar, and then we're gonna make the box shadow. So basically, the box shadow, you'll see it later when we run this, but basically, it's just gonna make the navbar stand out more. Let me check the chat. Okay, never mind. Oh yeah, and then we're gonna resize the logo. It's supposed to be like pretty big right now, so I'm gonna resize it to 60 pixels for the height and add some padding. Alright, let me run this. Oh.
Wait, Hillary.
Yeah.
I think people are confused about the logo. Can we like make one without a logo for now?
Wait, what?
Like
Sorry.
People are like confused in the chat because they don't know.
Yeah, like where'd you get the logo, basically?
Oh, okay. So
You can download any image and it'll work.
Yeah, yeah.
So just
Wait,
yeah.
You can go. Or should I go? Oh, basically,
I can talk about it.
Wait, okay. So basically, just get like any picture you have. I basically designed this myself. Just get, I don't know, get any file and then download it. Okay, just download some picture or whatever, and then just put it in here, and you're good. You know.
Make sure you know the name of the file so you can put it in your HTML.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can also just like right click an image on Google Images, click copy image link, and then paste that in there too. That works fine. So just copy like a PogChamp emote from Google Images or something.
Yeah. I'm just gonna give you guys some time, I guess. Are you guys good? Alright, well, you can see like the box shadow over here. So that's sort of making this navbar stand out. Now we're just gonna have to add all the items in the navbar. Why is there so much in the chat? Oh, never mind. It is Kento. Alright, I'm just gonna keep going. Or should I wait?
If you're able to put an image into your HTML, just let us know in the chat or the participants window or whatever, so we know you're able to follow along. If you're having any like troubles, just let us know.
Alright,
All right, looks like we're good, so you can just continue.
Alright, keep going. Okay. So now I'm gonna add in all the items, right? So I'm gonna create a list for this. So So basically navbar dash right is basically just, what am I typing? So it basically just moves all the items to the right. This part. And then let me close that. Okay. So I'm gonna add in all the items. So I'm not linking this to any. Okay, what am I typing? Okay, so I'm not linking this to anything. but you probably would in a real website. Okay, and I'm just gonna copy and paste this, like, okay, I'm gonna copy and paste this 2 more times because I only want 3 items in my navbar. And I'll change this to about and resources. So these 3 are gonna be the sections in my navbar. So when I run this page, you can see these 3 items pop out. And then when I open this up, yeah, you can see how responsive it is. It basically, like, the items shift as you shrink and stretch out the page. Alright, let me go back. Okay. So now I'm gonna add a component. This is gonna be the toggle component. So basically when you shrink the page more, the items are going to have, like, well, you see it later, but like this component that's going to contain these items basically. So I'm just gonna check the chat because a bunch of, all right. Okay. So
Hillary, can you share the link to the REPL?
Yeah, my REPL. Yeah.
Yeah. Top right. Okay, I'll try doing like a quick explainer with this. Bing,
right.
bing, boom. Bing, bing, boom. All right, my screen's a little bigger, so it's probably easier to see what's going on. Let me share my screen here. Damn. Okay, I think you can see this a little better, right? Okay, let me fix some of the formatting because it.
Okay, well, to be
bugs me a
fair,
little bit.
all right, fine.
Yeah. So, first of all, the thing we copied from here from the Bootstrap website, basically it just includes the styles and scripts from Bootstrap, and it's pretty much the same as like import something in Python or like or yeah, pretty much import in every other language. And so inside this body, we have a header, right? And inside the header, we want a navigation bar at the top. So we have a nav bar here. And then this should be indented because the items are inside the nav bar. And then inside the nav bar, we have a container. And then inside that container, we have the nav bar header. Let me open up the new page. Let me check the chat as well. I have dots on the web page. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Let me quit my screen share and do that again. I don't know how that happened. It's a little bit wonky. Okay, so I'm going to turn off dark mode because. All right, so basically href here. So here we have a link, right? And then inside the link we have an image. So whenever you click on, I still have the green dots. What's going on? Well, okay, whatever. So if you put a link here, like https://www.pogify.net or something, right? And you open it up. It should, when you hover over it, it should become a link. And when you click on it, it should go to that website. I don't know why it's down. Oh, I made a typo. Whoops. Yeah, so basically, yeah, it's just a link, and then inside the link is an image. So the image goes to a website. And that is inside this div called navbar header. And then here we have an unordered list. UL stands for unordered list, and then that unordered list contains these three items: home, about, and resources. And LI here stands for list item, and each list item has a link inside it. And then inside the link is the text you want for the link. So if I put like here, https/s, you can put any link here. Usually you would put relative links or like /home, /about, /resources. Let's just try that. /home, /about, /resources. I don't know where the dots are coming from. Like Zoom is just being wonky, but hopefully that's not too distracting. So you just click run, and when you, oh, these are other, what are these? Why is Ronak on my screen? Okay. Anyways, so these now link to, oh, whoops. These should now link to, what's going on? Why you no link? Hello? Hello? Oh no, what is going on with my screen? Okay, I don't know what is going on right now, but I will try to salvage this.
Wait, aren't you supposed to say href equals?
Oh, bro, I didn't even see that. Hillary.
Wait, I did type it though. Yo, I just want. Oh, okay.
Okay, anyways, now they're red dots. Oh, these are annotations. Oh, you sneaky little bastards. How do I turn off annotation? Hi. Disable annotations. Haha. You can't keep doing that. Okay. Decline. Okay. Cool. Clear all viewers drawings. Cool. Okay. Got it. Haha, you can't do that anymore. Okay, so so now that that's out of the way, let's go back to the demo. Right, so now we have a list item, and then inside the list item is the link, and then when you click on that text, it should open up that link. Ronak, please, please, Ronak, stop. Okay, and so when you open it up, there should be this page. This still links to a page, and then if you click these things, it goes to a new page. Right, so if you click about, if you notice the URL bar here, it goes to /about. Resources/resources. And right now, when you go to it, it's just a not found page because you don't have any page there, but you can create a page like that just by creating a new folder. Like here, our folder is called about. So just copy and create a new folder called about, bam. And then inside there, index.html, and then hi, or whatever. And so now when you click about, it should say, Ripple is slow, hi, there you go. So yeah, basically, Bootstrap is used in conjunction with HTML to make it make your page look really good, really easily. So yeah, to make a navbar, you just put a navbar class and navbar style, and etc. etc. And there are a ton more like things in Bootstrap you can explore, like buttons and forms. So yeah, we encourage you to check those out. Anyone got anything else? If not, we can just post the web dev sign-in link. Bam. Bam. And the code is Bootstrap. Hey, thanks for coming, everyone. See you next week.
All right, you guys, thank you for the reminder this morning. I got it. I don't forget. I just, if I don't get that reminder, I forget to check in at 11:35. So anyway, good job today. I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. Bye. All right, Natalie, what's up? Oh, she gone. Okay.
Okay.
And the recording here. Bye, YouTube. Bye. Bye.